My name's Emily, and growing up, my father never hid his favorite child, my older brother, Daniel. Daniel was the golden boy, straight A's, star athlete, the one everyone praised. And me? The artsy one. The one who, according to Dad, was just wasting time painting. Every family dinner turned into a comparison contest. Daniel got promoted again. Daniel just bought a new car. Meanwhile, I'd quietly serve dessert, pretending not to hear. The truth was, I wasn't jealous. I was just tired of being invisible in my own family. When I was 23, I moved out and barely spoke to them. I built my own life, started a small art studio downtown. It wasn't easy, but I made it work. After 5 years, my paintings were in galleries across the city. People I'd never met called my art moving, powerful, priceless. But to my dad, it was still a hobby. Then came his 60th birthday, a grand celebration at a 5-star hotel. The invitation said, formal attire. Family dinner. Toasts to celebrate achievements. I wasn't going to go. But something inside me said, no more running. So I showed up. The room sparkled with chandeliers and laughter. Dad stood at the center, in a tuxedo, glowing with pride. Daniel was beside him, his arm around his fiancée, flashing his new Rolex. And me? I slipped in quietly, in a simple navy dress, holding a small wrapped box. When Dad saw me, his smile faltered. Well, look who decided to show up, he said. Everyone laughed politely. I smiled, the kind of smile you give before a storm. Dinner began, and as usual, Dad bragged about Daniel's success in finance. Then, midway through dessert, he stood up to make his toast. He raised his glass and said, "To my son Daniel, my pride and joy. You make this family proud. And to Emily." He paused. Then chuckled. "Thanks for decorating the house with your doodles." The room burst into laughter. Even Daniel smirked. My heart pounded. I could feel every eye on me, waiting to see if I'd laugh too. But I didn't. I just stood up, calmly, and walked to the microphone. "Actually, Dad," I said. "Can I say something?" The room went silent. I looked around. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't tremble. I was done being quiet. "You're right," I began softly. "I do decorate houses. But not with doodles." I turned toward the giant painting hanging behind the dinner table, the one Dad had bragged about earlier, saying it was bought for over $80,000 from a famous artist. "That painting behind you," I said, "is mine." Gasps. Forks froze midair. Even Daniel blinked, confused. I continued, "I painted it 3 years ago under my artist name, E. L. Morris. The same hobbyist you always laughed at. Turns out, galleries and collectors didn't agree with you." Dad turned red. "That's ridiculous," he started. But before he could finish, I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. Receipts, gallery certificates, proof of sale, all under my name. "Here's the paperwork," I said, handing it to the event coordinator. She looked stunned. "It's true," she whispered. "Emily's the artist." The room erupted in murmurs. Daniel tried to laugh it off. "Wow, that's unexpected." But I wasn't done. "You called me a disappointment," I said, staring straight at my father. "You told me art would never feed me. That Daniel was your only success. But the truth is, that painting you brag about every time someone visits? The one you say shows your family's legacy? You've been admiring my work every single day." For the first time, Dad was speechless. He looked at the painting, then at me, and for a brief second, I saw guilt flicker in his eyes. I picked up my small wrapped box from the table and set it in front of him. "It's a gift," I said. "A self-portrait. Title, The Invisible Daughter." Keep it. Maybe it'll remind you who you forgot to see. Then I walked out, head high, heart racing. That night, my phone buzzed non-stop. Texts from relatives, friends, even Daniel's fiancée. Emily, that was iconic. Your dad needed to hear that. You owned that room. But one text stood out, from Dad. It just said, I didn't know how much I hurt you. Can we talk? It took me 2 days to reply. All I wrote was, maybe someday. But for now, I'm finally proud of myself, and that's enough.